Welcome to EVE Online. I'm Major Freak. Planting a Tatara in low sec or wormhole. Well, in low sec, you're just asking to get ganked. Somebody's gonna see it. Somebody's gonna come around with a frickin' dreadnought, a single one, and just blat you out of the sky. Yeah. I'm sure they'll have a couple of dreadnoughts. Hell, they might even drop a Titan on you. You don't think you're being watched? You're being watched. Unless you've got friends in the area, just forget it. It'll, take it from me. I'm a low sec Care Bear. When I first started out in low sec, I've never done wormhole. In low sec, there's locals. There's going to be regulars. I used to notice it used back in the day when they had player-owned station passes. Somebody was doing something new. It was a new person, or an old person was doing something different. I just noticed the pattern, and people just do the usual. And when somebody starts doing something new, you get curious and you go over and check it out, and you go, oh, somebody's anchoring such and such, and you let your friends know, who can either deal with it, or they let their friends know and they can deal with it. It's just don't even bother. Wormhole, yeah, that's a path I do not tread. It's too nomadic. I'm a homebody. I like a place to call home. And wormholes are not it. But yeah, I mean, this will scare away. Like if you're in high sec, this will scare away the subcapitals, right? If you're in low sec or worm space, well, say worm space, you can't get a capital in there, right? So this might be good for worm space. The meta for pirates, the easy target things are Drekovacs. Anything Triglavian, and they'll multi-box it, yada yada, and have Logi. This will work for if they have 3 Logi. If they got 3 Logi, you can scare them off. But if they have 4 Logi, yeah, hopefully your skills at Griffin usage are pretty good. I've got this technique where I have really high speed tanked Griffins, and I use the regroup command. And the really cool thing is they just recently allowed a shortcut for fleet regroup, and I think it's null, but I mapped it to number pad 0, and that closely orbits your squad leader or the wing commander or fleet commander, and it's kind of like an automatic group anchor up. It's great. I love it. It works just perfectly, and having 3,000 meters per second Griffins with, they've got piddling ECM jam stuff, but if you can practice that, you can put a lot of fear into the small timers. But if you've got a big low sec or a big no wormhole rolling rating team, you're not going to stand a chance, basically. This is basically your being able to stand off the usual riffraff. This is proof against the low-end, low-tier pirating organizations. You can stand them off super easy. As soon as you launch your sirens, they will flee. But yeah, the bigger organizations, they'll be able to swamp your defenses, and you just won't be able to manage it. Besides upwell defense, it's a different creature altogether. Unless you've actually done carrier operations, The controls will be alien to you. It'll take all your strength just to gun it. You won't be able to multi-box Griffins or anything else. It'll be a workout. Unfortunately, there's no way to practice this in. So when you really need it, you're not going to have the skill set to combat this kind of thing. So unless you have experience, I would recommend you not do this. Honestly, it's not worth it. Just if you're going out mining and you want to make a home of it, just NPC station in low-sec. Get to know the locals. Don't try to befriend them right away. But, low-sec is a lot different than high-sec. High-sec is just nobody freaking talks to you. Everybody's goddamn selfish and rude. In low-sec, they'll be polite while killing you. Or they'll be a-holes. The usual, like Masaba or Tama or, any of the gate camping hotspots. They'll trash talk you to the end of the world. But elsewhere, they'll be polite. And it'll be, oh, they're nice. No, don't mistake that for niceness. I'll be polite to you while telling my buddies, hey, there's somebody easy target. So you've really got to, hey, I want to set up shop. Be honest about it. What can I do? What do I need? And it'll usually be you have to field DPS for when they call for CTA, like call to arms and stuff like that. You've got to be prepared to participate in their offensive. So if you're not willing to do that, then you're really not going to make friends with anybody in low sec, because you're just going to look like another whale they can pick apart. As for wormhole spaced, I am the wrong person to ask, but this, if it's a non-wormhole, it's a non-capital wormhole system, this should be good against fending off the amateurs, the wannabes. But anybody dedicated brings along more than 4 Logi, you're pretty much hooped. It's difficult. You've got to know. See, the missiles are different. You would think, like, cruise for you and heavy and light missiles mean totally different things for upwells than regular pew-pew. Cruise won't damage, like, cruise is for battleships. Heavy is for battle cruisers. Light is for just don't even freaking bother. Light is great if you want to do damage on something, but yeah, we're talking about if you're able to shoot something with light missiles, it's it's doing something wrong if it's going to allow you to kill it. Like, say, light missiles would do the best damage against non-moving Logi. If Logi just land in your grid and you start shooting light missiles at it and light it up with a target painter, yeah, you're going to do a lot of damage. You might even be better using heavy missiles. But the thing is, like, once they start moving more than 200 meters per second, your DPS drops by half. It's just, yeah. Cruise missiles are not going to work. They're the green ones. Heavy is red, I think, or blue, or maybe light's blue. Anyways, you'll figure it out. Let me take a close look. Yeah, red for light, sorry. Heavy is blue, and cruise is green. Yeah, when I first started, I thought, cruise with painter would work great against anything, and I was too busy to switch out. And note, see the scripts for the ECM? Yeah. They actually, you can switch out your ECM with a script. I know. Wouldn't that be awesome for regular ships? But yeah, anyways, yeah, take advantage of that. Load scripts. They're absolutely wonderful. They have so much. I don't have a script loaded right now. The usual one, like trigs, are radar, right? So Amar. So yeah, 72, and that's with the Tech 2. 72 jammer strength. That's even if you had, yeah, it's just permalocked, permajam, sorry, and the range is awesome. You could jam out to reliably out to 150 plus. Yeah, it's just awesome. These will newt out to 200. The Tech 2 out to 200. Easy. Yeah. This will double your DPS. This will improve your DPS, but it's better to have lots and lots of targets. You can have up to a maximum of 13. You need that many because you need to be able to lock all your preferred targets, like 4 Logi, 8 DPS, whatever, and you can just, once you've got them, it just takes a while to lock, right? Even with this speed upgrade for the target, because they can warp off if you're starting to damage them and come back. And Drekovacs and Kikamoras and anything Triglavian just eats fighters for breakfast. It's not even funny. So don't waste your fighters on things unless they start to flee. If you're breaking them, launch Siren Wing and launch your fighters, usually for a Bogs of the best. Practice your fighter combat. You can click on a target, and as long as you have your fighter selected, you can hit W for approach, or I think it's approach, or orbit, or whatever. And if you've got your orbit set to a default of, say, whatever, they will move to that location before you have it locked, right? You can click on that target and hit W with your fighter selected, and they will start going for that target before it starts locking. Preferably if they're fleeing, you've got it, locked up already. And once those sirens, which don't have MWD, unfortunately, you can use the afterburner. You can get close on them, point them down, destroy them, and that person's going to be left to rot because everybody else has fled the field because they're amateurs and they picked on you and they didn't know what kind of damage this thing can do. But yeah, if you got more than, if you're able to survive to practice enough against the amateurs, you might be able to stand off larger foes if you can multi-box Griffins, orbiting at the target at, I do it at 100 kilometers and at 3 kilometers per second orbit speed. They can do quite the amount of disruption on the usual meta of Triglavian, because you know what they're usually going to bring, and it's easy to counter something if it's a meta. It's awesome. And since they nerfed the heavy assault cruisers, there's no longer any long-range Cerberuses, so you can laugh your ass off about that. So this is a survivable, like, say, Drekovacs. DPS is going to be, I don't have any fighters loaded, so that's 2000 DPS alone on, and you won't get that lovely number, but yeah, just that's base rate of 2000. That's pretty good. And if you can break the internal thing, because Drekovacs, Triglavians have built-in spider tank bonuses, so even though they have Logi, they also have their fellow wingmen who can rep them as well. So having Griffins on field to disrupt Drekavacs, just, yeah, it will, because most structure bashers are multi-boxers, the chance for a Griffin to jam something increases the stress of a multi-boxer, and they're not used to stress. They're used to easy targets. So if you stress them, they'll start making mistakes. They'll try to flee the field. You might get lucky and pin them down. And if you've got, well, in Wormhole, they can shoot bumpers, but in high sec, when I'm defending against something, I've got a friend and they're non-aligned and they're neutral or something, and they can come in and bump something, not moving. Or if it's even better than nesters are so yummy if you can bump them. Yeah, you can pin that sucker down and blow it up. But yeah, bumping in high sec, it's just, and of course in low sec you've got friends who can help out without having to ally in war, right? So you can ambush people that way. It's really all about your intel. How much do you know the space you want to inhabit, right? I hate Wormhole. Unfortunately, I can't give you really hard, solid advice about it, but this is proof against the normal, average, garden variety, amateur pirate wannabe in non-capital ship class of system. But yeah, good luck. I'd recommend joining Weapons of Mass Production, I think. Guns R Us or something, I forget. He no longer plays Eve, but his alliance is still up and about, so I'd recommend joining them. They've got experience in low sec stuff. Oh yeah, that would be fun to join them. And you might get a chance to help gun their structures, perhaps, if they still have them in low sec. And that will give you experience. And or learn how to fly a carrier and take a carrier into combat and learn how to do that. There's an excellent video about that. I think it's very out of date. Canna Noctis. Yeah, just Canna lol. Noctis. Porn search. Canna Noctis. They have a excellent yeah, carrier, super carrier.
84,000 cubic meters. Keep in mind, though.
Yeah, he's great. Watch this; you'll learn how to. Yeah, the videos are great. If you want to get into that, learn how to carry a combat first, and that will help you. Because I really lucked out in the enemies we faced because it was free. Like, if you can afford to lose stuff, if you gun those structures, even if it's you're gonna lose, it's like experience, right? So I wish I had carrier experience because it would have really helped me. Because trying to switch between carrier and shooting your own guns, and yeah, it's just an entirely different world. So I'd recommend, if you don't fly a carrier yet, don't get into upwells, because you're missing a skill set you will sorely need when it's time to, when somebody puts your Tatara in harm's way. It's just, you don't have the experience. You're going to be, you've just invested all this stuff into it, and you have zero experience in actual button pressing, and it's just going to F you up. Yeah, it's you can't even practice on singularity. There's no there's no substitute for live fire exercise, and yeah, so yeah, good luck. Merry Christmas.